back? I don't know. Am I back? Am I back? As a reflection. So, it's from the healing table here. It's been a minute. It's been a moment. Mental Health Week has happened. It's gone, but the conversation is still going. So why am I here? I've been asked by two people, why haven't I done a live? Why haven't I gone back onto YouTube? And my response was, I feel like there's too many voices already out there. And I was told that there's a market for everybody and there is support for everybody. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me come out of my hiding place and come back and let's discuss Mental Health Week. You know, I'm passionate about mental health and emotional health. I've had a few questions come in. So I just feel like, why not? Why not share what I've learned, what I'm still learning, and the journey of mental health, the positive and the negative. So those who don't know me, I'm Fran from the Healing Table. What do they say? Like, share, subscribe. And basically all today's conversation is about mental health, emotional health, and boundaries. Why? One of the questions, so let me start. So one of the questions was, why has mental health all of a sudden become a thing? It's not just become a thing, it's always been a thing. And I feel like with mental health, we've not approached the root of it. So everybody's out there, don't get me wrong, I'm a therapist, therapy is good, but everybody's out there looking for a quick fix. And if you think about a quick fix, it's like fast food. So nothing's nurtured. You know, it's in the freezer, it's in the fridge, it's brought out, defrosted, fried, boom, wrapped up, here you are. So there's different types of therapy. But then there's also different types of, or should I say different levels of support. So you've got your talk therapies, you've got your CPDs, you've got your NLP, there's loads, there's so many out there. How do you know what's right for you? What is right for you? And sometimes, do you actually need therapy? So, and I say this because sometimes there's a different, oh, something's on my face. Sometimes there's a different element of disorganization. And sometimes, yes, there might be a root of you being disorganized due to lack of understanding, lack of time management. But when it comes to therapy, we deal with the root. So it's what is the root cause? Why is it there? And how can we work with it? So over the next few weeks, I'll be covering all these topics. The reason why I'm starting with boundaries today is because it seems that there's a pandemic of cutting people off. There's a pandemic of cutting parents off. And when I say it's a pandemic, it's because people are not feeling heard, seen, or understood. And I think in this current situation, there's a lot of different information out there. Cut off your mum and dad, don't cut off your mum and dad, cut off your siblings, don't cut off your siblings, cut off your cousins, cut off your friends. It all boils down to one thing, accountability. Sometimes in life, you will try and hold people accountable to what they've done to you or how you feel. Now, if the person means something to you and they're important to you, you can have a conversation. If that conversation doesn't yield a positive outcome, then you set your boundaries. Boundaries are protection for you, not for the other person. You've got positive boundaries, you've got negative boundaries. Here's an example of a positive boundary. Somebody's always on you. They take from you, they don't really communicate well. And you feel that 9 out of 10 times you're doing 90% of the friendship, relationship, wherever it is. You therefore introduce positive boundaries. So you not limit communication, but you start, I'm thinking of a right word, not limit it. I guess I'll use the word reduce. You start reducing communication. Things become very text rather than conversation. And the reason why I say text is therefore you know that 9 out of 10 times if people text what they mean, but people text what they say, they mean what they say. Sometimes when it comes to words, we just say it, and also we read texts in tones. So sometimes we have to, as people, be self-aware of what we're reading and what mood we're in. So back to the communication. when I say reduce communication, it's a case of if you feel that person triggers you on a Monday, don't answer their phone call on a Monday. You know, or say to them, hey, thanks for calling, I'll get back to you. You put that in your pocket and you leave it till you're ready. What is negative boundaries? Negative boundaries is when you've put boundaries in for the person. You're no longer talking to the person as much, but you still follow the person online. And now you're intrigued in what they're doing, who's following them, who are they communicating, because now you've become a monitoring, like you're monitoring a person. When you monitor somebody like that online, you're still thinking about them. That's not how boundaries work. Boundaries are made to protect you. People are afraid to have hard conversations. And I think this is where the new cutting people out of my life, cutting parents off. There's a post going around, I don't know if you've seen it. This young lady, she said she was living survival mode. And I get that. But everybody's commenting, oh my days, well done. But as a parent, sometimes if you've not been told what you've done, it's not fair. So those boundaries aren't fair. You've cut them off without telling them, mom, dad, this. And I feel like everybody who's jumping on her to say, well done, nobody's actually really thinking of, okay, if it's 100%, how much of it was the parents, how much of it was her misunderstanding, how much has she relayed onto her parents? Because sometimes we as parents, or as children, we assume people know how we should feel. It doesn't work like that. We can't assume. So I'm just trying to highlight that these conversations need to be had. These root conversations need to be had. And if you've got a parent who can't process what you're saying, won't understand what you're saying, write a letter. Because what happens is you've got to get it out of your system also. And there's a lot of us, and I say us because it's all of us, walking around with different kinds of trauma. Something is on my eye. Different kinds of trauma. And we're not naming it. We're making assumptions about how to treat it. And this is why I'm like, I don't know if I want to do a podcast conversation. But my main aim right now is community healing. Healing as a community. Seeing another brother, sister on the street and you say hi instead of... Community healing is really important right now because the world is rough. So when I say we need to have conversations about mental health and emotional health and boundaries, I actually really mean it, because we don't... Another example, you don't like somebody, you're not getting on with this person, you and this person's falling out. Now, this person's having a soiree, a whatever. You know you don't like this person, but you're going to go to this soiree to be present for what? So this is another form of, we've got this new FOMO culture, fear of missing out. You don't like the person, but you're attending because social media, because I was there. That's not a healthy boundary. That's a really negative boundary, because you're making the boundary work for you. So you're going to turn up, but you know the person doesn't like you. You don't like the person. So what is the point? We've really got to go back to the roots of what does somebody being there for me means? Who am I there for? What does friendship look like? What does love look like? Because right now, it's rife. It is really rife. People are not communicating well. People are like, I'm a good communicator, I text. I'm a good communicator, I express how I feel. Some people don't express how they feel. Some people are just purely reactive. I've been there. I used to be reactive. So you don't acknowledge how you feel, but you react. And sometimes we react and we've reacted too far and we've gone too far. And now we're stuck in wrong and strong. Wrong and strong is a different kind of boundary. Because that boundary, you've put it in, I'm wrong, but I'm strong, but at the end of the day, I don't care what anybody thinks. How do we heal? How do we heal from I don't care what people think? How do we heal from I'm right, I don't care? There are certain things currently happening within our community that we really need to sit down and reflect on. Really, really, I'm not social media bashing anybody. Everybody's free to talk. But you've got to protect what you see. You've got to protect what you're hearing, because these all make you reactive. These all make you reactive. The natural hair versus the treated hair, relaxed hair conversation, the toe, light skin, dark, all these things. It's not healthy for our community, and it's holding us back. And people might not agree with us, but it's holding us back. And it might not be a daily thing, it might not be a monthly thing, but in the cracks of things, it is holding us back. Community healing is so important. If your mother, your father does something that you don't understand, and you can approach it and have that conversation. There's been a rise in people from our community putting parents in old people's home. When did we start that? When did we start doing that? I'm not judging anybody, but I'm saying, when did we start that? The communication, there's no shame when you're struggling. There's no shame if you've got the right people around you to tell them that, hey, I'm really going through something. I need some support. Yes, we've been taught not to share. Yes, we've been taught not to tell people how we're feeling. But how long will this go on? And what will the next generation get from us? Because if we're not learning how to communicate, what are we doing for the next generation? Everybody says, oh, the next generation, they're soft, they're this. They speak up. They speak up a lot more than we do. Over the next few weeks, I will be discussing community healing. I'll be discussing conditioning. And I'll be discussing how we heal together. This is not going to be a long conversation. I just wanted to come on to say I'm still here. I am working on things, and I appreciate everybody who's supported me and who's been there for me. But I'm really passionate about community healing. So I am going to do better. I'm going to start doing weekly videos just to discuss community healing, conditioning, boundaries, and what mental and emotional health looks like to us. Sometimes when you say to somebody back home, oh, I'm not feeling my... Well, what do you mean you're not feeling yourself? You live in the UK. What does that mean? You live in the UK. We pay council tax. Do you pay council tax? There's a lot of unspoken conversations that we need to have. And we won't always agree, and we don't have to agree. That's why it's a conversation. But what I'm offering is a safe space for people to ask their questions. And let's conversate. Let's have a conversation. So it's Fran from the Healing Table. Follow me. Send me a DM. Let's bring topics, what you want to discuss. This whole YouTube thing, I'm trying. Bear with me. I'm a face-to-face person. I'm a, physical, head, not like that, but you know what I mean. But yeah, stick with me. Enjoy the journey. And I look forward to seeing you guys hopefully next Friday. I might go back to Facebook because I'm old school and I like Facebook because Facebook's more interactive. But as it stands, I'll be on YouTube next Friday. Next Friday? It's Friday, yeah. Next Friday. So it's Fran from the Healing Table. Have hard conversations. And if you can't have hard conversations, write them down. I look forward to speaking to some of you online. I look forward to seeing the questions. I look forward to the response. And yeah, it's Fran from the Healing Table. Have a great evening. Thank you so much.